Daddy, what? Another Lien's trial video? Yes. Okay, so I want to even out the playing field a little bit. So for today, or at least for the next 32 hours or so, from whenever you're watching this video, we currently have probably one of the best possible trial buffs right now. So I'm achieving 6 point something million, and I think it is important that I share this with you guys, especially since only a small percentage of the player base actually watch my stuff. So you guys are going to have a major head start. Alright, so anyway, the way this works, let me just show you the team real quick first. So we have Falcon here for the usual stuff. You guys already know why Falcon is here. He's the leader, he brings good debuffs, he brings pretty decent DPS as well, so 20% minimally. And we also have Ahmed here. We do not have Everett anymore. We also have Yunchuan, and we have Mateo, and we have Lien. Now the thing is, Yunchuan is probably replaceable with a Hall, but your DPS output will not be that good because Yunchuan don't just bring extra attacks in, he also brings in the slow debuff, he also brings in the speed up buff, he brings in the seer debuff, he brings in miss rate up as well. On top of that, a lot more DPS. So you can't really replace him with a Hall, neither can you replace him with Brewster or any other single target DPS like Embla for example. It just doesn't work because the defense break doesn't come from Yunchuan, the defense break already came from Mateo. And yes, Mateo will be the main DPS for this current setup. And the reason for that is because this current buff, like I said, is perfect for a Mateo comp. So currently, Life Springs, after an ally receives healing, their AP increases by 15%. This increases according to all kinds of healing that you have received. So for example, this is largely the reason why I'm using Ahmed here with the Astro set so that he can attack more often and increase the AP of my team a little bit more often as well. Now aside from that, I've also built Yunchuan with the Nether set, so whenever he heals, which is a triple heal on his first skill and a single heal on his passive pursuit attacks and a double heal on his third skill. So for example, whenever he uses his normal attack, he's actually going to hit a total of 4 times because 3 from his roaring thrust and 1 from his actual pursuit for a total of 4 hits, which is 60% AP. Yes, exactly, 60% AP just by him taking a turn. Now the same is true for Mateo as well. His minimum attack count is 2 hits, which means he's always going to give himself 30% AP because he has the Nether set as well. Some of you guys might also raise the question, is Shenpin or Alice going to be really good for this setup? I would think so, because whenever they call in one of your allies to attack, and for example, if they call in Ahmed, Yunchuan or Mateo, then yes, there's going to be extra healing, there's going to be extra AP pushing, a lot of good stuff. I haven't actually tested it out just yet, and I will after this video, but for the most part, I just want to show you something that I'm using right now, which is this team, and it works perfectly fine. So let me just quickly go through all their stats real quick for you guys, right? So we have Falcon here, okay, wait, hold on. We kind of want to have 100% minimally. I'm not sure why I have him at 70%. Okay, regardless, I don't want to shift his equipment around because most of it is being used by Yunchuan and Mateo outside of their Nether set. So I'm going to keep it as it is for the time being. And here we have Ahmed's stats, which is 100% crit rate, very important so that whenever he multi-hits, he's also going to multi-push your Mateo. And then we have Yunchuan here with, I just showed you his stats earlier on, so full crit rate as well, very important stuff, and as much crit damage as possible so that he can keep pushing for the spunk debuff that Mateo has. And I have 95% crit on Mateo. Ideally, you want to have 100% on him so that he's just able to push his own AP whenever he lands his own crit. So if you do have him at R2, that's going to be more epic. So the way I'm building him, very simply, just crit damage, attack, speed, and some accuracy. Accuracy is quite important because you need to land a defense break on his second skill over here. And finally, we have the Trial Lien. So let's take a look at this run. Alright, so whenever Ahmed attacks, you'll notice that the Espers that we heal will actually gain AP, which is 15% like we have talked about at the start, right? So you see, whenever Mateo attacks, he minimally does 2 hits, and that also means that he gains 2 more healing procs, which is a total of 30% plus the spark AP pushing that he also provides, which is, yeah, something like 40% or something like that, right? So there is a lot of AP pushing onto this team, which is why the speed up buff from Yunchuan is very key here. So you might be able to replace Yunchuan if you do not have an R2 Yunchuan for an Alice, for example, who also has a speed up buff. And if you have her on the Ocean set, then she's going to function really nicely to upkeep like speed up buffs or like whatever kind of... Wait, hold on. Is the Ocean set actually important for her? Okay, maybe the Ocean set is not very important for this current setup because this is not the poison comp that I talked about in yesterday's video. If you do not know what I'm talking about, you can go ahead and check it out. But the thing is, that Jacob poison comp is actually not going to work for today because you do not want to gain more turns. The idea why that comp is so strong is because the boss is taking those turns, not you. So you do not want to gain those turns. So currently this new buff that the Lien's Trial has is really bad against like those Jacob teams. So we're just trying to push as many turns as possible just to deal all the damage that we need to do. And that is all. That's basically this setup in a nutshell. So Mateo, like I talked about, he's going to be very relevant in many of these kind of content where you can have many multi-hits so that you push his turns a lot. So this is like the perfect example. Some players might think that, okay, why am I just using Mateo right now? Why didn't I use Mateo in the past? So the thing is, why did I not use Mateo earlier on in the Lien's trial is because there were just other strategies that were a little bit better, and frankly speaking, Ahmed is not necessarily that good as a healer over here. So Ahmed is the best healer to pair up with Mateo, but because Everett is much stronger than Ahmed in this case, then it doesn't really make a lot of sense that you want to use an Ahmed when you could be using an Everett instead, because Everett also brings DPS, Everett also brings a miss rate up, extra miss rate up, he also brings damage mitigation, which is actually quite important. So one of the weaknesses of my current comp is that we are lacking damage mitigation, and therefore you notice that Mateo tends to die a lot. Like it just happens very frequently, and if that happens, just rerun just so that you can ensure that you have a better win rate. But yeah, as you can see, Mateo is like almost dead and he needs to heal himself. If not, yeah, things can go awry very fast. If we do not have our protection on Lien right now, okay, we did get our protection, but if let's say she was on cooldown, that would probably mean that Forbiter would have killed Mateo right there and then. So yeah, it really depends on your RNG, depends on how lucky you are. Just keep rerunning this as much as possible. So currently right now I have like 6.5 million. I have actually achieved that score earlier on 2 or 3 hours after they reset. And ever since then, I was not able to replicate 6.5 million. I was not even able to replicate like 6.4. So the run that you just saw at the start where I did 6.3 million, that was, yeah, completely lucky, super lucky. So for this setup, Mateo will be the strongest DPS as per here, at least 60 to 70% of it, because he's just gaining a ton of turns. But at the same time, for some reason, he's just not tanky enough. I don't really know why, because he also has this passive buff that he already has, right? Which is, let's just take a look at it real quick. So Eternal Flame, every single stack that he has would actually reduce damage that he takes by 1%. So he actually has a 20% damage mitigation for the most part. And I'm not sure why this is not enough. Actually, it's quite surprising. But anyway, it has become quite obvious that R2 Mateos are very strong, and R4 Mateos are also really strong, because you would then have an... There you go, Mateo died, right? You would have an innate healing, so you do not need to run the nether set for him to start healing himself for this particular situation, and you do not need to run him with any crit at all. So yeah, in this very awful RNG situation, I'll just have to restart, rerun, and just keep on doing it until RNG favors you, right? And when RNG finally favors you, then it's probably a little bit easier for you to get like 6 million or so. But yeah, anyway, I've just been running this throughout the whole day, just trying to get a better score, and it's extremely difficult. But I hope this video helped you at least in improving your score a little bit. Do take note that this current trial boost only lasts for another 1 day or so, so like 30 plus hours. So make the most use out of it. And of course, you can try stuff like using the twins, especially you have them on another set so that they multi-heal themselves a lot, and that also pushes their AP by a great amount. So that could work. So if you're trying the Falcon and the Twins combo, I think that still works. Basically anything that multi-hits, just give them the Nether set and you should be fine, right? Actually, now that I think about it, Ahmed with the Nether set, holy shit, I think that could be quite interesting, right? Yeah, so it's probably something that I want to consider, something that I want to play around with, mess around with, so he gains a lot more turns. Yeah, that's actually quite interesting. And aside from that, also to use Alice over here. So I might just replace Falcon with Alice, but that's going to chip into my DPS a little bit. But hey, you know what? If you never try, you never know, right? So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now that it has been very free to play, and as always, I will see you in the next video. And if it turned out alright, I'll just probably put a community post just to let you guys know that the Alice comp works. If not, just assume that it isn't performing at all.